You're watching EAC News. Thanks for joining us. Now for a look at the news making international headlines this Tuesday, the 26th of April.
Dragon SpaceX ComCheck.
The first all-private astronaut team ever flown aboard the International Space Station safely splashed down in the Atlantic off Florida's coast on Monday, April 25th, completing a 2-week science mission held as a milestone in commercial spaceflight. The SpaceX crew capsule carrying the 4-man team, led by a retired NASA astronaut who is now vice president of the Texas company behind the mission, Axiom Space, parachuted into the sea after a 16-hour descent from orbit. The splashdown, carried live by a joint Axiom SpaceX webcast, was originally planned for last Wednesday, but the return flight was delayed due to unfavorable weather. The return from orbit followed a plunge through Earth's atmosphere, generating frictional heat that sends temperatures surrounding the outside of the capsule soaring to 3,500 degrees Fahrenheit or 1,927 degrees Celsius. The astronauts' flight suits are designed to keep them cool as the cabin heats up. Applause was heard from the SpaceX Flight Control Center in suburban Los Angeles as parachutes billowed open above the capsule in the final stage of its descent, slowing its fall to about 15 miles per hour or 24 kilometers per hour, and again as the craft hit the water off the coast of Jacksonville. A small recovery boat with a 3-member team reached the Crew Dragon minutes later to secure the visibly heat-scorched craft as it bobbed upright in the ocean. The capsule was hoisted from the sea onto the deck of a larger recovery vessel about 40 minutes later, and the hatch was opened to let the astronauts emerge. Air camera shot from inside the capsule showed the 4 crew members strapped into their seats, garbed in their helmeted white and black spacesuits. The mission's crew was assembled, equipped, and trained entirely at private expense by Axiom, a 5-year-old venture based in Houston and headed by NASA's former ISS program manager. The U.S. Space Agency furnished the launch site at its Kennedy Space Center in Cape Canaveral, Florida, and assumed responsibility for the Axiom crew while they were aboard the space station. NASA's ISS crew members also pitched in to assist the private astronauts when needed. The multinational Axiom team was led by Spanish-born retired NASA astronaut Michael Lopez Alegria, 63, the company's vice president for business development. His second-in-command was Larry Connor, 72, a technology entrepreneur and aerobatics aviator from Ohio, designated the mission pilot. Joining them as mission specialists were investor philanthropist and former Israeli fighter pilot Eston Stebe, 64, and the Canadian businessman and philanthropist Mark Pathy, 52. Connor, Stebe, and Pathy flew as customers of Axiom, which charges $50 million to $60 million per seat for such flights. Launched on April 8th, they spent 15 days aboard the space station with the 7 regular government-paid ISS crew members, 3 American astronauts, a German astronaut, and 3 Russian cosmonauts. SpaceX, the private launch service founded by Tesla electric car maker CEO Elon Musk, supplied the Falcon 9 rocket and Crew Dragon's capsule that carried Axiom's team to and from orbit, controlled the flight, and handled the splashdown recovery. SpaceX has been hired to fly 3 more Axiom astronaut missions to ISS over the next 2 years.
Russian President Vladimir Putin on Monday the 25th of April accused the West of trying to murder Russian journalists and said that the Federal Security Service had thwarted one such attempt on a television reporter. This morning, the Federal Security Service stopped activities of a terrorist group that planned to attack and kill one of the famous Russian TV journalists, Putin told prosecutors. They have moved to Terra to preparing to murder our journalist, Putin said. He did not immediately provide evidence to support his claims. Reuters was unable to immediately verify the claims. The Interfax news agency said that members of the nationalist group had been detained by Russian authorities. Interfax said that the group, acting on orders of the Ukrainian spies, was plotting to kill Russian journalist Vladimir Solovyev. Putin said that the West was trying to destroy Russia from the inside, but that such attempts would fail. He said the US Central Intelligence Agency was directing attempts to undermine Russian and advising the Ukraine government. Putin also said foreign media organizations and social media had been used by the West to conflict provocations against Russian armed forces. Such actions, he said, should be stopped.
Firefighters battled blast in a multi-story residential building after a Russian attack on Ukraine's eastern city of Kharkiv on Monday, 25 April. Emergency worker broke into one of the burning apartments as local residents watched on. At least 2 apartments were severely damaged. Complete bastard. You can't even imagine, it is horrific, said one eyewitness, Alexander. Ukraine's general staff said Russia was shelling Kharkiv, its second biggest city. Shelling by the Russian army has intensified in recent weeks. Moscow, which described its action in Ukraine as a special military operation, denies targeting civilians.